Welcome back. Even the wealthy counties have some real estate property tax auctions, and that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about Palm Beach County tax deed sales. Now, that's really an auction, but they call it the Palm Beach tax deed sale. Now, I'm Ted Thomas. I've been involved in a subset of traditional real estate for approximately 30 years. Now, the subset includes the same thing as regular real estate: single-family homes, buildable residential lots, small apartment properties. Sometimes it's small office building and small farms. But they have tax defaulted properties, all of these that I've just mentioned. So it's very much like the regular real estate business, where it certainly employs an awful lot of people nationwide. But this is an unusual business. Most people don't know about it. So the county, they have at least 2 auctions on every county in the state of Florida. So in Florida, they have 2 auctions. The first auction is going to be a tax lien certificate auction. Then the second auction is going to be an auction where they're actually going to sell the property. So there's 2 different auctions that take place before the property owner loses the property. Now, I know that's a little confusing for people, but stay with me and I'll try and clear it up. So in most instances, the county employees conduct live auctions.
There's 100,000 right away, but 100 now, but 100, 200,000 to go. But 200,000, there's a 200.
When that takes place, they're actually going to transfer a property to the people that are the highest bidder. But before that auction took place, they had a tax lien certificate auction. So understand, these auctions can be online or they can be offline. I'll be right back and give you all the details. Okay, Palm Beach County. All right, now this is a wealthy county, but even so, they still have properties that go to tax deed sales. So in Palm Beach County, they call it the tax deed sale. It's really going to be an auction, and that means the property will be sold to the highest bidder. All right, now before that, they had a tax lien certificate auction. Now, tax lien certificates are sold in all the counties in Florida, and in that case, the lowest bidder actually gets the tax lien certificate. All right, now the property owners haven't paid their property tax. All right, now people don't pay property tax. The county government is authorized by the legislature of the state to seize the property, or they can confiscate the property, or both, and then they can resell it at auction. But before they do that in Florida, they have a tax lien certificate auction. And when they sell that property, the owner doesn't leave the property. So you don't have any right to take over the property when you buy a tax lien certificate. So what you do is you buy the certificate. It could stay outstanding for about 2 years. Okay, so there's a redemption period. The person that's still on the property can redeem any time after 2 years, or any time during the 2 years. Now, when they redeem, they have to pay whatever the tax was and the back interest on those 2 years. And there might even be some penalties for them to pay. All right, now if the property owner never comes forward and pays, and you own a tax lien certificate, what are you going to do? What you'll have to do is you'll have to petition, you'll have to request the county that they sell the property, and they'll sell it at another auction. Anybody can buy at that auction. That might raise the price. Okay, but when they buy, they're going to have to pay at least the back taxes, and there's accrued interest. So if you're a tax lien certificate, you're in great shape. You're going to get paid, because you're either going to get paid or you're going to get the property. All right, but remember that there's 2 auctions. So today we're really talking about these 2 auctions in Florida. And the first auction is a tax lien certificate. That's altogether different than a tax deed, because a tax deed means now the county's going to transfer it. They've confiscated the property. They're going to transfer it to the new owner. So the new owners and new people that get involved, they really get confused about this process. In most states in the United States, when a tax lien certificate expires, the owner gets the property. But in Florida, there's 2 auctions. So put that in the back of your mind. Try to remember all that. All right, it's not going to be a difficult process, because there's such a long redemption period if you buy a tax lien certificate. It's going to take at least 2 years before that person their redemption expires. So anytime during that 2 years, they can come forward and pay you. When they do come forward to pay, that's a good thing. They come forward to pay you. They're going to pay you all the money you paid for the tax certificate, plus they're going to have to pay the interest on the accrued interest on whatever was the bid, and there might even be some other penalties or fees involved. You'll get all your money back. So with a tax lien certificate, you get your money or the property. It's one or the other. Do you see those little white circles? That's how many auctions are taking place within that state in the next 90 days. This calendar updates every single day. I'm here today to show you how to make money. To do that, I'm going to show you briefly that there are thousands of tax defaulted real estate properties across the 3,000 plus counties in the United States. This is quite interesting. You're looking at the Ted Thomas Magic Interactive Map and Auction Calendar. It changes every day. Now, I created the calendar and the map so I would know how many auctions are taking place every day in the United States. Now I can show the little guy how to make money. Most importantly, I created this system so I could have an auction list for each auction 24/7. If you'd like a sample auction list of the properties that are coming up for tax auction, I'll give you a sample list when I finish this episode. Today, what we're talking about is the Palm Beach County tax deed sales. All right, now these auctions take place on a regular basis, but at least once or twice a year, it'll take place in Palm Beach County. All right, now when it takes place, the highest bidder now, not the lowest bidder like on a tax certificate, the highest bidder is going to get the property. All right, so highest bidder gets the property, and the county will have deleted and extinguished, wiped out deed or trust loan or any mortgage on the property. So you get the property without a loan encumbrance. That doesn't mean that there couldn't still be a federal lien on it or there couldn't be a municipal lien. So you want to check those things out. All right, so what happens to the proceeds of these auctions? So when the auction takes place, well, that's how the county takes care of paying the county bills. So when they sell at the second auction, so when the Palm Beach County tax deed sale takes place, the money that comes in is now going to pay the county's bills. For example, county employees, or it's going to pay the school teachers, pay for the schools, pay for the police department, pay for the fire department, even to help fix the roads. All those things are going to come from the revenue from a tax deed auction. All right, now I'm calling it a tax deed auction, which is exactly what the Palm Beach County tax deed sale is. It's an auction. Property will go to the highest bidder. Now, who authorized all that? Well, the Board of Supervisors has authorization from the legislature of the state. The legislature says everybody's going to pay property tax. So the enforcement comes from the Board of Supervisors. They mandate that the treasurer and the tax collector go out and levy the tax. Once they levy the tax, they have to try to collect it. If they can't collect it, what are they going to do? They're going to seize the property. Then they're going to confiscate the property. And then guess what? They're going to put it up for auction. Now, when they put it up for auction, they don't try to get top price. What they try to get is the best price they can. So they'll start out at the back taxes. They could give a 60, 70, even an 80% discount less than a tax assessed value. All right, so the tax assessed value will always be on the property so you know what it is. If you could buy a property for just the back taxes and it had a high tax assessment, well, that's your margin where your potential profit would take place. Now, keep in mind, we're talking about a tax deed auction. All right, that means the property owner is going to get the property. It's nothing to do with the tax lien certificates. Now we're talking about tax deeds, and this makes a lot of difference because you're going to get the property. Now, how did this sale take place? The treasurer is usually in charge of these auctions. Sometimes it'd be the county clerk, but the treasurer is authorized to delete the mortgage. So now you're ending up with a property with no trust deed or no mortgage on the property. All right, these properties are sold to a minimum bid sometime can be 5 or 10% of the actual property value. All right, now how do you have to pay for an auction? When you buy at an auction, you have to pay cash if they'll accept that. Now, this county will accept cash, according to the records. All right, they'll take bank checks, they'll take wire transfers, they'll even take personal checks. So you need to know the rules of what the county will accept. Every county is a little bit different, and they make their own rules as what they want. So it's wise to know what those auction rules are. For example, when your auction is finished, if you have the ability to pay for the property immediately, do so, because the property does not transfer to you until such time as you pay for it. So if you now have to go to the bank or go get the money and come back and pay, which they're going to allow you 24 hours, all right, in that 24-hour period, if the property owner comes forward and pays the tax, you're not going to have any property to buy, because the property does not transfer until such time as you have paid the county and they have accepted the money. So you might want to put that in the back of your mind. All right, now all the responsibility for looking at the property's condition and to see if there's any defects on the title are the buyer's responsibility. All right, so all of the auctions will issue what I'm going to call a treasurer's deed or a tax collector's deed, they're basically just like a quitclaim deed. Okay, the county would say, we have no responsibility for the condition of the property. We have no responsibility for any defects in the title. So you need to know all those things. So what am I talking about today? I'm talking about the Palm Beach County tax deed auction, which is really referred to as the tax deed sale. So you kind of get the idea. It's a little confusion, but the point is, when you buy the property, you need to take action, and you need to take it relatively quickly to make sure you pay for it. Now, I can't give you every piece of auction information that's available in the short time I have, but I do want to tell you a couple of things to think about. Number one, if you're going to buy a property, be sure you have looked at the property. Be sure you've looked at it and had boots on the ground. What if there was a hurricane? What if there was a fire? What if there was a pig farm next door? You'd be concerned. Now, everyone's going to give you advice about these auctions, all right? Relatives will give you advice about it. Young people will, old people will. Everybody wants to tell you about the auction. They can't help you, I can tell you that right now. If they haven't studied tax liens and deeds, that's where you want to have a coach. You want to have a coach help you with it. If they haven't studied it, they're giving you advice, not intentionally trying to set you on the wrong track, but if they don't know about it, how can they give you advice? All right, so many people try to help you, but they don't have expertise to do that. So you're going to have to be careful because their advice might not be the best advice. All right, so that's why you need a coach or a mentor to accelerate your learning. All right, now I'm about to finish up on this particular video segment, but I want to tell you, if you're going to buy property at auction, you need to know, before you make the bid, you need to know what your exit strategy is going to be. So what are you buying this property? You're trying to get it close to back taxes, and that might be much lower than what the tax assessed value. There's a big margin there. All right, but what can you sell it for? If you don't know what you can sell it for, then you shouldn't bid until you do know that. Now, my name is Ted Thomas. I'll see you on the next video. Don't forget, request your free auction list right below me.